All right, good evening. I am just getting home from work. Um, I look a little bit better. I'm exhausted. But I just want to ask you guys a question. Have you ever been going through a situation and you just felt like there was no hope for you? You just almost felt like God had given up on you, and no matter what you did, it seemed almost felt as if God was punishing you for maybe something you did long ago. I mean, even asking yourself, what did I do in my previous life? I mean, I just want to know, is there anybody out there who has ever felt that way? If you have ever felt that way, I just want to let you know that you are not alone. And so I will continue. I asked that question because I want to continue my story. So where I left off at was, I had been taking care of um, his child from a previous relationship, and he was, doing his thing while I was raising my two children from him and his child from a previous relationship. In the midst of this, some information came out and we found out the child was not his. However, I wanted to keep raising her because I had grown attached to her. So many people had, again, felt like I was silly for sticking around with someone who was just blatantly disrespectful to me. Um, a lot of people felt like I shouldn't have stepped up to take care of the child, but considering the history that me and the mother had, and considering the circumstances that the child was brought into the world under, or the notion that the child was his. But however, I prayed on it and I spoke to some elders, and they were like, you have to do what God tells you to do. Whatever you feel God tells you to do, you go with it. So I decided to raise her. I did my best. I never mistreated the child. I never treated her differently from my children. But in his mind, he was more embarrassed by the fact that the child wasn't his. So what he ended up doing was he ended up giving her to her mother's family member, and letting them raise her. Time goes on, and we're back together, and my grandmother passes. And at that time, he decides he wants to move back to where he's from, which is overseas. And I'm going to try my best not to mention specifics because it's so much, and I just don't want to bring in names and things of the sort. So he decides that he wants to move back to where he's from. Now, years ago, before that, when I was maybe 19, I was helping him buy trucks and send them back to his home country, in hopes of us moving back there one day and opening a trucking company. So he decided that he wanted to go back home. We went back. It was around World Cup time, and we went back to um, his home country. To He went back to get the company off the ground, because he had been going back and forth getting the company off the ground for years, but it wasn't doing much of anything. Um, Let me rewind because I want to add this in there. And before all of this had taken place, he was supposed to have been in nursing school. And from my understanding, I was helping him get through nursing school. I had picked up more hours. I was working more hours just so that he can get to nursing school, not knowing that he had already dropped out of nursing school months before that. And I'm thinking he's still in it. I just wanted to add that in there because it's all going to tie together. So we end up going back, and he wants to stay. And at that time, I had just lost my grandmother, so I was still in an emotional state, and I was not ready to move away from my mother at that moment. So I decided to stay. I stayed for several months there, and then I decided to come back home and get things together. In the midst of me coming back home, once I came back to this side, to the United States, I had received a lot of phone calls about how once I got back, he basically had decided to start dating other women there. And so that was, it was heartbreaking, but I was at the point I was like, okay, that's neither here nor there. He's still my husband. That was my mindset, because at this point I'm in it. So I'm in it, and I'm in it to win it. And so I'm thinking, okay, whatever. I still have to do a few things here, and I'm raising the kids. I have the two kids here, children here with me. Um, in the process, I had a home. My home had flooded, so I moved into another home. And while all this happened, I had a man, a man who was stalking me, um, that I didn't know, who would come and sit at my window at night. And it wasn't until I had to really go to the police station and really like stay on them for this investigation to take place. And once he was questioned, he did say that he was going to try to rape me eventually, or yeah, try to assault me eventually. Um, I went, continued on working, and that's when I was like, I'm ready to come back. At that time, when I explained to him what was happening and that I was ready to come back, he refused to bring me back. He was like, I don't want you here. Um, I don't care about you coming back. You or the kids. I can make more children if I want to. This, that, and the third. And of course, I was heartbroken. But then a year had passed, but we were still talking. He was still taking care of the family. We were still talking, but he was back and forth. And then one day he called and was like, I want my family to come back. And if you guys are ready, then um, I'll send the tickets and make sure that you all have your pass. Well, we already had our passports. I'll send the tickets. So at that time, I did a 30 day move out, closed my house down. I got rid of everything that I own. I gave away my truck. I gave away my furniture. I quit my job. And this is where, I'm not going to say this is where the story really begins, because I had a lot of trauma before that, but I couldn't see it because I was just so blind by it. And I wasn't walking with God. So it was almost as if I was so used to such mess and chaos in my life from a young age that this was so normal to me. So time goes on. The day before I'm supposed to leave, I receive a text message from a family member of his, and they tell me that, yeah, he's here, he has another girlfriend, and the girlfriend is telling me that they've been together now for the whole year, and that when I come back, she's gonna be the second wife. I'm distraught. I'm calling my mom, I'm calling my sister, I'm calling my friends. My friends, of course, are like, don't go. My sister is telling me it's up to me. My mom is saying you don't know if it's true or if it's just them trying to keep you from coming back. Um, so I prayed on it, but I still didn't. I don't know if that was my my answer or if it was God's answer, because I prayed on it and I just moved. So I moved. I went ahead. I followed through my trip the next day, or maybe 2 days later. I get there to my destination. I'm thinking like, okay, everything is gonna be great. Everything is gonna be cool. I'm gonna let bygones be bygones. This is the start of something brand new, and we're gonna live this happy life. We've started this trucking company, um, and things are gonna be moving. I'm gonna be working alongside him, because we have started this trucking company from the beginning. Little did I know, I had plans for my life. He had plans for his life, and God had plans for us both. So, um, when I got there, um, it was different. It was a big culture shock. I seen things that I never experienced. Um, we were living in this house that we rented. Everything was different. I was seeing wildlife. It was an amazing experience as far as culture wise. It was an amazing experience as far as also learning who I was and learning, seeing things differently. But I didn't know that this trip and this move was the move that was going to mold me into the woman that I was. Because remember where I came from a single parent household, and I came, we lived in the ghetto, and my mother, she did her absolute best. But that was the only life I knew, you know. I knew nothing outside of that. So I didn't know that was going to use my pain and my trauma and my drama and mess to mold me into such a wonderful person, the wonderful person I am today. And I'm not just boasting on myself, but I'm speaking out of terms of being so determined, and being able to share my story and being able to love people in the way that they desire to be loved, regardless of how I feel that day or what I've been through. So time went on, and I'm there. I'm putting my children in school. I'm getting acclimated with the people there, and boom, I get a message again on Facebook. And the message on Facebook was, your girlfriend, I mean, your husband's girlfriend is ABCD, and instantly, new age Facebook. You go to Facebook, you search the person up. She comes up. So I link people, and I go into his phone and I find the number, and I give her a text message. This is such and such's wife. I am back in town. I don't know what you all had going on, but I just please appreciate if you all would just cut it off. She says okay, and that's that. Um, if I knew what I know now, it would have never went down that way. But like I said, everything happens for a reason. And even if it seems so outlandish to the point you feel like it's the enemy, you have to remember that God is the only one who can allow things to happen in your life, whether they're bad, whether they're good, whether it's confusion. God allows things to happen in your life to bring you to a certain point and to mold you into something that he desires you to be. Because remember, in Jeremiah 29:11, he says, I know the plans that I have for your life, plans not to harm you, plans to prosper you. So God already knows the plans that he had for your life. And so many times when we're living life, we decide to, if God has a straight path for us, because remember, God will make our crooked path straight. If we have God has a straight path for us, remember the enemy is always calling us somewhere else, calling us off our path. And once we're called off of our path, and we get into something else, remember our actions will have consequences. Although God forgives and loves us no matter what, our past will have our actions will have consequences. However, God will have to bring you back onto the path and the direction he has for your life. And sometimes that means taking you through those valleys that you just didn't expect to go through, or those valleys you just don't want to go through. So um, I will finish tomorrow. It's getting late. I'm just getting off of work, and I have to get up at 3:45 in the morning. I think it's about 11:15 my time. So I will finish some more of my story tomorrow. And I'm just giving you this story because I want this story to be out so that people can be aware of how moving in life without God's guidance can take you through so much turmoil that could have possibly been eliminated or avoided if God was at the center of my life. So thank you for watching the second part of my story. There's going to be several parts of the story. Thank you for watching the second part of my story. My name is Alayna. Don't forget to click the like and subscribe. If you want to share it, feel free to share it. Um, The channel will be called Wandering from Wandering to Worship, because that is where that fits me so well. I went from wandering life with no plan, no direction, to worshiping a God who has brought me through so much. You all have a great evening, and I pray that God blesses you in ways that you could not even imagine. Good night.